Hi Year 3, it's Thursday today and I'm going to be taking you through today's maths lesson and tomorrow's maths lesson. We are still recapping multiplication and we are building on the lessons that you have been doing with Mr. Constantine. So today we are going to be multiplying two-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. Now I'd like you to pause the video and see if you can remember the method that we use to do two-digit multiplied by one-digit. So pause the video now and see if you can remember it. Okay, so hopefully you would have all written or drawn the grid method. That is the method that we use when we do two-digit times by one-digit numbers, okay? You should have all remembered that because remember this is a recap lesson, so we have done this quite a lot already this year. Don't worry though if you're a little bit rusty because today's lesson is to refresh our memories and to make sure that it stays in our long-term memory. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through today's lesson now. Okay, so like I said a minute ago, we are focusing on the grid method today. So here is our first example. We have 15 times 4. Now we need to think about how we are going to set this out in our grid method. If you want to pause the video now, it would be a good idea for you to see if you can remember how we would set it out, and then I will show you how we can set it out in the next slide. So pause the video, have a go, think about how you might set it out, and then we will check to see if you've got it right on the next slide. Okay, so here is the grid method. So we've got 15 times 4, and the first step is to partition 15 into 10 and 5, okay, that's the first step we must do. So hopefully some of your grids will look like this already. So we've got 10 and 5 and we need to then times that by 4. This grid just shows us as with the place value counters, we've got 4 lots of 15. Okay, so we know that 10 times 4 is 40. So we write 40 in this column. Then we do 5 times 4, which we know is 20. Then the next step is to add them up. So we've got 40, add 20, which we know gives us 60, because we know that 4 add 2 makes 6, okay? So let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so we've got 22 times 4. Now remember, we must partition 22, okay? So we are partitioning it into 20, and then we are partitioning it into 2. Because there are 2 lots of 10 and then there are 2 ones, okay? So here it is in the grid method. Then we do our multiplying. So we know, remember, use what you know. Think back to Mr. Constantine's lesson. 4 and 2 we know is 8. Therefore 4 times 20, we're making it 10 times bigger, so it is 80. Then we've got 4 times 2 again, which is 8. So that's a nice easy one to add up together. 80, add 8 equals 88. Okay, next one. So I'd like you to have a go at this one on your own. Pause the video and then come back to check to see if you got the answer right. So first step, remember, hopefully you would have all done this. You are going to partition your two-digit number. So 14 is partitioned into 10 and 4, and then we are timesing by 3. So we're going to put our 10 in here and our 4 in here. We know that 3 times 10 is 30, and you should know that 3 times 4 is 12. We add them up, 30, add 10 we know is 40, don't we? And then 2 more gives us 42. It's a very big 2. Okay, next one again, I'd like you to do this one on your own, so press pause and then come back to check your answers. So we have 16 times 4. First step, remember, we partition our two-digit number into 10 and 6. Put our 10 up here and our 6 in this column, timesing it by 4. 10 times 4 is 40. And then hopefully some of you will know that 6 times 4 is 24. We add them together, 40 24. We know that 40 and 20, 60. Add 4 more, you get 60. Right, so these are the 4 steps that I want you to remember when you are doing your sheet today. You must draw your grid. If you're printing the worksheet, some of the grids are already drawn for you. If you're not printing it off, then obviously you will need to draw your grid. You then need to partition your 2-digit number into 10s and 1s. Once you've done that, you multiply your 1-digit number by the 2-digit number, and then you multiply the 1-digit number by the 1-digit number. The final step is then adding them together. Do not forget this step, it's a very important step. When we did this in school, there were a few in my class who forgot to add them together, so make sure you do that, please. Here's a quick question that I'd like you to think about. Which of these questions would we use the grid method for and why? So pause the video, write down or maybe tell someone at home which one you'd use it for and why. So hopefully you would have said 15 times 4. Because when we see a 1-digit by a 1-digit, we should be able to do it in our head. Now, in year 3, we haven't really focused on the 7s and 8s. Some of you might have been able to calculate this in your head, but the grid method will be used for 15 times 4. Again, some of you might have been able to do this in your head, but the grid method is the best one to use for 2-digit times 1-digit numbers. Okay, here's a list of your 3s, 4s and 8s. You might want to copy these down, or you might want to come back to this slide and refer to it when you are doing some of your calculations, because you might not know these times tables off by heart. Okay, so here is your do it for today. If you have printed up the sheet, obviously the first 4 have been drawn for you. If you haven't, you will need to draw the grids for all of them. So you need to partition your 2-digit number, and your 2-digit number will go there and your 1-digit will go there, your 10s and then your 1s, and then your times symbol will go there. Then the number you are multiplying by goes down here. Then don't forget to add them up, and don't forget these 2 down here. The grids haven't been drawn for you, so you will have to draw these. If you have printed the sheet, you can just draw these on the back. So you'll twist it, you need to fill in the blanks to solve this calculation. You need to figure out how many groups there are and what the number is, okay? So you use these place value counters, see how many groups there are, and then you will need to use the grid method to work it out. Finally, you'll solve it. You will need to use the grid method to solve it. Mr. Smith's journey from home to work is 7 miles. Mr. Smith travels from home to work and from work to home on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. How far does he travel? And then if you finish that, you can write a word problem for this number sentence. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, you might be able to solve this one. You might know your 8 times tables. Remember that rhyme, my class will know this. I ate and I ate till I was sick on the floor. 8 8s are 64. Okay, so that will help you with that. Otherwise, you can use the times tables that we have got on the previous slide. Okay, I will see you back here tomorrow for the lesson.